Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It is Monday, the 12th of July. Welcome to another episode of Cutting Edge. My name, as my little label below my face says, is Felicia Holder. And joining me to my left, your right, would be Limma McLeod. Morning, Lims.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good. I see you looking very corporate this morning. I don't know if you have a job interview today. The automotive and the manufacturing industry reopened. I don't know if you have an interview done in Answer or Kia.
Well, you never know, but I don't think any 1% company might want me there. They might say I come to spy.
For real, any company we go to work for will probably make us sign an NDA. Please be advised that things that you observe while in these premises are not for commentary on your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday cutting edge program.
Yeah. And all I would have to say to that is, so yes, watch the show then.
Indeed. At least you know that your employers are watching your show. Mommy, you could scrape that pot any harder. Good morning to Shane Mahabir. Good morning to Shada. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I apologize. But welcome to the live this morning. Welcome to Cutting Edge. Please, you know what to do when you join. Click that share button, which I am about to do as Lima gets us started on the top stories under discussion this morning. I know Lima has a personal gripe and grouse with the Ministry of Education as a mother, as a part-time teacher, which you have had to convert yourself into in the past year.
Yeah.
You would have observed firsthand all of the flaws with the education the education sector, and would know firsthand, like I said, all of the problems facing the parents, facing the teachers. So, Lima, rounding off the discussion this morning, tell us what's going on in terms of education.
Right. So when the term would have come and gone, and ministry would have sent some guidelines to teachers and principals for a way to mark the children, to know how to, if they are to be promoted or not promoted, right? So they were having issues where parents were helping some of these students and all these different things. I get it. I help my daughter too, but not in the sense of giving her answers. My daughter cannot read as yet, so I read the questions for her for the exam because the teachers weren't doing it. Now, this is a class that they now leave second year and they're in first standard, and their first year of first standard is completely online. So many of them didn't learn to read because this was a struggle for a lot of the students in this particular year. And most of the parents read the questions for them during the test. Right? So therefore, I don't understand how that was a problem, because last year for standard 1, for the test, the teachers read the exam questions for them. Right? So, and then they needed to look at it from the perspective of the issues that the school had when these children entered. Because this particular group of children, when they entered school, it had the earthquake and the school was closed for about 2 months. So when it was time to go back out to school, none of them wanted to go back out to school. Everybody was crying. They didn't want to go. They had to make new friends over, and it was the trauma of it. And then when they got back out to school and they were settled in, their teacher, she damaged herself, I think, in the school itself, where she threw out her back. And she was on 6 months sick leave. So those same children were put in another teacher's class. So that teacher's class now was a lot bigger. So she didn't have the individual attention. They didn't have the intimate sessions with the teacher concerning reading and all these different things. So That is the problem. And they just progressed and they just moved up from second year straight to standard one with these issues. Now that we online and you expect them to just know how to read like that, we have a problem. So I had to work with her to help her with this. And you had a problem with parents reading for these children, right? Now that is completely different from parents telling the child, no, the answer is B or the answer is A. That is completely different from the parent reading the question and pulling out the answer. A is this, B is this, C is that, D is that. And then the child will choose whatever answer, right? So they had a problem with that, so we stopped it. So parents were a little upset that some of the children had to be kept back or whatever. Now, I know my daughter had to repeat because of that issue where she couldn't read. And I already knew that. I spoke to her about it. She has no problem with it and fine. And I prefer you repeat a year because you're not ready yet than you move up a year and you're still not ready and you cannot keep up with the work. Right? And then the amount of work you want to teach at standard one, it's ridiculous. You teaching at standard one conjunctions already. Conjunctions is a standard 4 topic. My daughter who now going in standard 4 didn't learn that in standard 1. So every year, are you changing up things that you're teaching these other children that now coming in standard 1, standard 2 with. Right? So on top of all of that, yeah, the Ministry of Education have these benchmarkers. You must make a certain requirement, a certain amount of time on online classes in order for you to be promoted. So as she said that 30,000 children don't have devices, how are they supposed to make that requirement of online classes to be able to fit the ministry criteria to be promoted? So you now saying that because all they don't have devices, and obviously the ministry was moving at a snail pace to get it for earlier, these children have to suffer because of their incompetence? Why is that? You're punishing these children now.
So these are, you explained with your child, and guys, my eyes for the first 10 minutes of the program, if you see it veering on and off the screen, it's because I'm doing what I asked all of you to help me do, which is share the live video in all your groups, all your pages, etc. I just shared it on the breaking news group, share it on all your channels as well. So Limbs, you were saying, you mentioned that your daughter was fine with being kept back because you had that discussion with her.
Yeah, I had it because she cannot read. So, and she would sit down there while they're doing reading and just be looking and be lost. I can't put my daughter under that pressure of knowing that you can't read yet and you're moving up, and then the class, everybody else, well, not everybody, some of the other children in the class could read well and others can't. You're not going to feel comfortable. You're not going to feel, confident. So I prefer you get that confidence and know, right, I could read. I understand what my teacher is saying. And then you move up. There's no shame in that. Because I rather you at standard 1 than you had to repeat standard 3 or standard 4.
Well, I was about to ask, when you told her that she was going to stay back, this was before the ministry sent their news or their required stipulations? Yeah, because the teacher, she knew I had some concerns about, the progress that was happening. The teacher also knows that there were a lot of students that couldn't read. So they introduced a new program that term called Literacy Block, where they were teaching them the basics, right? Now, but since the beginning of the year, you knew this, that there were children that did not know. So it takes a while for the teachers to send their reports to ministry, for the ministry to respond in a timely manner, for the teachers to now be, innovative and do new things. And this is a problem I have with the Ministry of Education. They're not giving teachers enough autonomy to identify issues and deal with it one time. They always have to get permission from the ministry. A child isn't
reading well, or they're not doing it. So you can't do it for yourself to say, right, I'm just going to have an extra, 15 minutes doing reading with these children because, they can't read well yet. So what I did was, when end of term finished, the teachers wanted them for the rest of the week to finish doing, the work that they would have done during the term. And I stopped her from doing that, and I focused her on reading. So now Homegirl knows how to read her first primer, West Indies first primer, the whole book. Right, so I'm looking to go get the second book now for her. And this goes back again. Why did they change from that reading book, that West Indian first primer book, to Republic readers so soon? Because the West Indian primer is a foundation book. That is the ideal book to teach children how to read. Boyo and Carla don't teach you how to read, Is the West Indian primer. He is, she is, it is, knowing those basic things. And then Tot learns to run, or Tim does this. And you're teaching them the basics, and you're teaching them the rhyming words. So ill is a word. And if you put B in front of ill, it's bill. If you put P in front of ill, it's pill. And that's how you teach children. That is a foundation book. That is the easiest book to teach children how to read. It's a very, very good book. I don't understand why they changed the syllabus from including that book. That book should go right up to first standard and second standard.
So you've given us a mouthful, or you've given us a lot to think about in all of that you just said there. I mean, I'm very sorry to hear that your daughter is, having those difficulties. And I'm particularly sorry because I know that, especially during these times, that individual attention that she may need, that personal one-on-one face-to-face interaction that she may need to learn, because we have already established that children have different styles of learning. Some children are going to adapt to the online learning, they're going to appreciate it and probably excel in it. Some children are better with their hands. They would learn counting by putting blocks in front of them. They would learn subtraction by putting it up on a table and taking out
using their fingers, using rice on a table, all these different things, and they don't allow it in the system anymore. And this is what has pissed me off, because when they taught her how to do subtraction from tens and ones, they give them the placemat chart. So she uses that. So for her to do it without that is a challenge. So I tell her, well, okay, use your chart. And it should not be a problem to use your chart or your counting rack, or use your fingers, or draw your little apples and you take it away. All these different ways. These are the same methods you teach your children. Why the hell would they limit children or stop them from using particular methods to try to only do one way? You had to give them choices. And now that they're seeing where children have excelled during this online learning, as well as some who would have, suffered a bit, I hope they plan to incorporate the two when they go back out to physical school, because it will come like you're punishing some other children. The ones who did well and liked online learning will be punished now to go back to the old system.
Well, I'm seeing a headline talking about preparations for physical school and all of that. All of the preparations that we do, and I hope it's not just infrastructural, and they are actually going to take a proper look at the syllabus. And I mean, I'm saying that already knowing the answer in my head, because the reason I was asking the question about your daughter and whether she had known or not prior to the ministry sending these stipulations to the schools is because now is a very to find out at the end of the term that requirements you were supposed to meet after the fact
And some parents really found out that information after they don't get booklets and know that the child moving up. So you see the nonsense with it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. To find out that after the fact is a little unnerving, to say the least. And I mean, it's not a case of anything to do with a learning disability. I think it has to do with, as you pointed out, how many online classes you would have attended.
Yeah, but at least let parents know. At least let parents know. Okay, in order for your child to be, promoted or to be even given consideration, etc., they must meet a certain amount of requirements, and these are the requirements. So, but how you could insist online learning is possible when 30,000 children don't have devices? She's the same one that came out with these damn statistics. So what it is you're putting for those children to do then if they cannot meet the online requirements? That is bullshit.
30,000 children don't have devices. That's a very large.
And then
That's across primary and secondary school, I'm assuming. 30,000 children don't have devices.
that was good. But at the same time, Felicia, though, you gave out 4,000 at the end of the year, at the end of the school year. So who really benefiting from that? Not for next year. So what the hell Ollie was doing all before that? From the time you find out 30,000 children don't have devices, why you didn't go up with corporate partnership, courts to sell laptops, standard selling laptops now, and reach out to the people that already have laptops in Trinidad to make sure that these children get it like yesterday. You're waiting to go and get your tender through these people in Maraval for laptops, and look when it reach, and you only give out 4,000. So what about the other 26,000? That's madness. And those children that would have done well without devices, due to their parents sitting down and teaching them the school work, and they were able to make the grades, why are you punishing those children and making them repeat? How those children going to feel? I get 80%, which is an A or a B or some kind of thing, and I still had to repeat?
Because I did not make the number of
online classes after they know it has a certain percentage of the population that don't have devices. But all you're spending billions of dollars on rent for Al Rawi still. Billions of dollars that you're getting all over the place, and we still don't know what the hell they do with it.
We still have no idea what they did with it. And I mean, we spoke about this in length. We have spoken about the situation in the Ministry of Education, in our education system in length, because it deserves to be spoken about in length. It was literally one of those problems that you saw coming, that we did nothing to prevent it. They say hindsight is 2020, so is foresight. And in this case, we knew what was the problem. We knew we were falling short in certain areas. And the fact that another school term is now over, and we have children who are not registered in school. Last week I spoke about the shooting, and then I spoke about on Wednesday the young boy no older than 14, 15 who was held for it. Why was he held for it? Because he outside lineman on the block when he should probably be inside in school, and I think school had closed at that time, but that's his status all the time, 24/7, Monday to Friday. He's sitting outside, and I'm wondering, where is the Ministry of Education? Yes, the onus is on his parents. Let's give him that first. The onus is on his parents to make sure he is in school.
What about his parents not home during the day because they have to work? So they thinking he doing the responsible thing.
And that is the case, because we have single parent households where the mother can't go, both mother and father can't stay home, or there is no mother, or there is no father. There's one parent who has to make ends meet. They have to pay for the internet that's going to fuel the laptop or the phone that the child device is using, or they have to pay, or they have to work to pay for the the mortgage or the loan that they take out every month on these laptops because we have not been able to
Yeah.
give devices to all children, and they're not there. And the child lineman and the child outside and the child saying, "Yes, mommy, I am in school," but they're not.
Yeah.
And the reality is, thousands of children are being left behind, and we are very much aware of it. And we were aware of it before it happened because we knew and we know that the social structure upholding Trinidad and Tobago is very, very much fractured,
And
fundamentally fractured.
then watch it, right? That is happening in some schools that I was told in the East, right? Or other parts of Trinidad as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the teacher in my daughter's school also said, in reading the comments in the group chat, she said that a lot of children were promoted with difficulty. That means you couldn't keep them down because you don't have the physical space to keep them down, and they needed to be kept down. So that means exactly what Stefan said, we're going to have a lost generation after this. And yes, it is true, we are going to have serious problems with the next set of children are going to do SCA, who not prepared, not ready, who don't have devices, and the rest of children who coming up who were promoted under difficulty, who were not promoted because they made the requirements academically, but because they didn't have devices, that would set them back. You would also demotivate children like that. You would also make them have some sort of problem with their self, like, but I made the grade, I get 80%, or I get 90%. How it is I didn't move up? And then it have the self-esteem issues. All my friends move up and I didn't move up, so I done, so I stupid, or some kind of thing like that. And then you have the parents who just think small-minded. Why you keeping down my child? But you know for sure your child not ready to move up yet, and it's not even a matter of if the child ready academically alone, You see, mentally, if your child is not mentally ready, your child is still immature and only want to play. Our education system is not fun and learning. It's about making these little people into adults too soon. That's what our education does. They take the fun out of learning, so it's all about learn. Swallow this, take that. No fun, no encouragement to think and ask questions outside the box or any kind of thing like that. That's what our education system does, churning out slaves that have no jobs for them at the end of CXC. Because after them who write CXC now and are waiting results, what is their position after that? Right? Not just to go and apply to sell chicken and chips or Burger King or whatever. Where is the entrepreneurs? Where are the ones who want to create some kind of big thing? Where are athletes? Where are those children?
Where are they? Hold up. Where are they indeed? I think my mother is on a mission to just distract me as much as possible this morning. Yes. Where are they indeed? And I wanted to mention something. You said earlier, Lemma, you said something about children and those who are going to find out that they're going to be left behind and separated from their classmates and all that. I just had an idea. I remember back in the day we used to do vacation school. You remember that? Especially if you didn't do well in the term prior. Especially in a situation like we are existing in now where we don't have enough devices. Why not set up the schools? And I see that some schools are quietly, I don't want to say reopening, but I saw some Tranquility students last week. I don't know if that was exam related. I don't know what are the circumstances under which they're reopening. But your idea, Lemma, about having one or two or few children in a classroom, social distancing, using the laptops, for those children who did not have a very smooth experience this term or who did not do well this term, why not have them do vacation school where they have set laptops in the classrooms and you actually have teachers physically there? Because like we were just saying, we're giving children the same examination when some children could swim, some children could walk, some children could climb, and
Yeah.
we telling all of them to climb a tree, and not everybody can do it. So why not make or incorporate, like you said, the different learning styles for children? Those who did not do well in the ex in the what do you call the academic term, let them come in, just give them an opportunity. Those who won the opportunity, and they probably just had minor issues holding them back. It's not a learning disability, or it was a challenge. Like, if the internet and the laptop is a real challenge, and the fact that
Mhm.
the fact that school has continued for a year and we have not yet closed the gap between those who have devices and those who don't have devices, I think that is a failure on the part of
Yeah.
the Ministry of Education. The fact that we can have construction going on throughout the country right now on unnecessary projects while we have children who don't have devices is another failure on the Ministry of Education. The fact that Faris family getting $20 million a year for buildings that we don't need, while children still don't have devices and internet, is a
It's a
failure
huge
on behalf of the
problem.
ministry, because you can't
Yeah.
tell me in a cabinet, in a government, in a whole party that sit down with each other, talk to each other. Dolly can't jump up and say, "Yo, Faris, that $20 million that we spending on your family could actually go towards my ministry where we have children who can't even make it to school."
And you know what he would probably tell her? I don't give a damn about your children. My family needs to eat her food. Because that's basically what it's saying in not so many words. That the nation's children, to ask for them, just give him a break, right? Just give them a break. And 30,000 children don't have devices. Well, 26,000 now because she gave out 4,000 laptops at the
Just
end of the school year.
give me a break. And we're going to segue into that in a little bit as we, tie up the education crisis, and I'm going to call that a crisis
We're
because
going to have a lot of children with problems. Plenty children not going to be able to cope, manage, handle the stress. You could imagine you fight up and you do so well without a device, without your teacher physically in front of you. You do well and they're punishing you now by telling you to repeat a whole year. You can imagine what I will do to the psyche of a child. We already have depression in very young children, right? They said statistics a while ago said that we have very high suicide rates from the age of 11 to 16, right? That was SEA to CXC. They ain't do nothing to sort that out, fix it, help it, improve it, nothing. And you're going to add pressure on top of that now with online studies. Children who don't have devices would have been, like, oh my God, what will happen to me? How am I going to do this? Or they would be under a lot of anxiety, depression, stress to keep up. Oh my God, I don't understand how to work this out. Your parents don't know how to do algebra and maths. What are you supposed to do? And if you have one of them jackass teacher, when you ask, Miss, you could repeat, explain that. I am not explaining that again. You were supposed to be paying attention. Or your internet glitch at that point in time and flow cut off and you had to go and restart the modem and you come back, Miss, I miss half. Well, you should have been in class. Those things just happen. I sent a message to Miss, I had to restart the modem. I don't know what happened there. And she'd be like, okay, mommy, no problem.
I think if anything, this does, it also highlights that the education gap. I think it just widens the education gap that we had. That 20% who go on to prestige schools and the other 80% who are left to fight up. I think this COVID-19 situation just made that whole placement system easier, because it would be interesting to see if and who passes for what,
It
given
should not
the
have
circumstances.
happened in the first place, Felicia. What they were supposed to do was cancel SEA, go by grade point, by do average of the last 3 terms you did or whatever the case is, and place children accordingly zone, right? Do the zoning and try to bring the standard of all the other schools, Mokorapos, the Belmont, all the other junior sec, north, south, east, and west, bring them up to the same standard of the prestige schools so that the children in there would have the same opportunities as the children there. You have the money. We have the money. We getting international help money all over the place to help us with COVID. We could have take some of that to fix the education system. The same way the Roman Catholic boards and all these denominational boards have an excellent program is the same thing the Ministry of Education could put for the government schools and the non-denominational schools to bring it up to that standard. It could be done. They just don't want to do it. Dolly Ball in an interview, some schools' idea of continuous assessment is not another school. She basically explained why our education system in a mess, because some schools get to do this differently from other schools, and the dumbass did not realize that she is part of the problem. Because if you as Minister of Education could come out and say, well, this is a problem, the continuous assessment isn't, equal, we have some schools with a different standard as compared to other schools, and you don't see that as the problem, she's a problem.
What does she think her job as the Minister of Education is? If it's just to sit down and point out the problem, if it's just to sit down and point out the problem, she could be an admin and a moderator for every single Facebook group, because that's what they do. They sit down and they discuss everything going on in this country that is craziness. But as a Minister of Education, what does she think her job is?
I honestly don't know, because she's chief educator and you are not doing that. You are not educating these children. If 30,000, 26,000 don't have devices now, what were they doing during school? You said 2,000 dropped out of school, off the grid from Trinidad, and 232 in Tobago. That is a huge problem. These teachers from the beginning of the term, the first week of school, would have known how much out of their class were in class and weren't. They would know who don't have devices and who have and just did not come to class. And they would have been able to call, hi, mommy, I noticed Jason didn't show up this morning. Is there a particular reason? Is there a reason why he didn't show up? And if she says, well, no, miss, I see the device on and he just don't be there, well, apparently I'm going to have to monitor it, miss. And then you monitor your child for a week and then you call you back. I'm still not seeing Jason in class, mommy. That is when you're supposed to, Social Development and Ministry of Education supposed to have been notified to send police with the social development people to come and look for this to find. Well, why isn't Jason coming to class? Jason, what's the problem? Is it that you don't like online? You prefer books? You prefer a physical classroom? Talk to me. You need a hug? What? What is going on in Jason's mind? Well, we don't have that. You're not talking to these children to find out what they have going on internally. Are you depressed? Are you anxious? What making you anxious? Is it the online learning? Is it not enough? You think you don't have enough time? Is it the fact that you think you'll be left behind because you don't like the online classes? What's the problem? We're not doing that. And we fail to realize that these children have emotions. They get stressed out. They get anxious. They get fed up. They get tired. And they feel hopeless too. And we are not understanding the same shit adults go through, children go through it. The only difference is they aren't allowed to express it. Because, there's a children. What are you stressed out about? What are you tired of? You don't have to work. You don't pay bills. You don't do this. But no, me fighting to keep up with maths when I don't like maths, or I don't like English, or I don't like Spanish, or I don't like social studies. I had to do this. I prefer technical stuff. Let me build an app. Let me take apart a radio and put it back together.
If you're just joining us, please hit share to all of your groups as we build up the discussion in the second half hour of the program this morning. We've been running a little bit late, and that's usually because the convos have been going really well. School is closed, some parents are home, they're on vacation, so they have more time to join us. So please, if you're just joining us, hit that share button to all of your pages, all of your groups, all of your WhatsApp broadcast lists. I saw somebody make a comment that I wanted to talk. Shada said, I wish together we can find an answer for this problem. I honestly felt the government had attended to this situation by now. This is yet another broken down system as everything else in Trinidad and Tobago. She's right. And my particular problem with this system is that we politicize everything in this country. But you see, education, if there was supposed to be a holy grail, if there was supposed to be an untouchable area, I feel like it should have been education. I feel like education should have been protected and cocooned from all of the corruption, the mismanagement. Because when you think about it, when we die off and when the baby boomers die off, who we leaving behind us, the generation X and the ones coming up to and when they are uneducated, who we really leaving in charge of this country? We have so many so-called brilliant minds right now and they're running us into the ground.
Not only that, they're causing a brain drain because many of them migrating.
What's gonna happen when we're
going to have a very high illiteracy rate. We already did. It's just going to be compounded now with a younger generation. And you're not doing anything to fix this problem. And this is a disaster. Remember in the beginning of this program, we said COVID will show up all of the failures of the systems of that we have had in this country, implemented since 1962, that these people never upgraded, and it will show up PNM and UNC. Because even though UNC gave out laptops to children, they did not fix the education system, and that is the problem. Not giving out laptops, the system itself is a problem. SEA is a problem. You cannot expect all children to be judged by one exam. Obviously, you're going to have some that will not do well, some that will excel, and some that will fail. And that is the point. That is the problem. It comes like you saying, right, this is a technical drawing exam. Everybody have to do it, whether you like it, you know how to do it or not. Do that. That's the same thing. Who the hell know about TD? I didn't do TD. I don't like it. I don't like nothing engineering at all. But yet still, that is the perfect example of what they want children to do. Or physics, or chemistry, or literature. Everybody have to do that. Pass that exam, and we will place it accordingly. That is the foolishness of our education. We cannot push children in that direction. And this is why I said there are countries in the top 5 in the world. Finland, Norway, Japan, and I think Germany, and somebody else. We could pick one of those and tweak it to Trinidad and Tobago. Japan and Norway and Finland, they start actual teaching of schoolwork at age 7, which I like. You give children time to learn, how to socialize from before that. Japan does that. They teach them about cleanliness, their culture, having pride in their culture. This is why Japanese are the most pleasant people in the world and most disciplined, because of what they do. Their children clean up the schools after they finish class. They don't have cleaners. The children in the school clean up the school. They clean up the mess they make after. That instills discipline. They learn their civics and alphabet and learning to identify letters and all these different things at age 5 to 7. China is the same way. They teach them how to wipe their own bumsy in preschool. I saw a video and I was like, wait, why I didn't think about that? This is how evolved those people are. We could learn things from these countries, but we're not. We're only using the corrupt things about countries to do here. Only China they want to go to. China still has a good education system, They start learning at 7. From age 3 to 5, they learn about socializing with each other, playing with each other, and learning the basics, It's a lot of drawing and art and painting. That's what they do, We could learn from that. We could learn from the Japanese. We could learn from Finland. But we choose not to do it because why? We need to have segregation in Trinidad and Tobago. Indian versus African. So all the Black Panther, all of them who went Black Panther and they black and they proud. And they hear what Mbaku Ball praised Hanuman. They didn't realize that that was Indian and African culture right there. You know, that was the perfect example to show these idiots here that it had no separation in the two, you know. But our politics does do that, and all. Let us be glad to run with it.
Diana just said some children do well during Diana Muhammad. Some children do well. Some children do well all during their school time and literally panic and break under the stress of SE and inevitably fail. Not because of lack of knowledge, but because of fear. And Diana, that is why we say abolish the SE examination. It is so unfair to put children under the pressure of the mind-breaking pressure of SE exam. I will never forget it.
I was nervous, Felicia, for common entrance. And when I am nervous, my hands sweat, I get headache, I forget, I get diarrhea, I feel the vomit. That's all what I went through for common entrance. And I want to cry. And I say, oh my God, I forget everything. For CXC, same thing. All of my friends huddled together and everybody who crying, who want to vomit and who want to dead because like, oh God, and you had Spanish orals. Oh my God, I forget everything I learned. How you to say to know again? How you to say? And my friends were like, calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
The nerves is literally difference between a passing grade and a failing grade. And I know exactly, as somebody who did well in school, I guess I have had it. I will never forget sitting down in physics examination for CXC, and the most basic thing that I learned in physics examination is what I forgot in the middle of the examination. It wasn't because I didn't know it. It was just being afraid and nerves. Imagine telling children at 10, 11, and 12 years old, putting them through that same pressure, that same situation for months after and before the exam. When I did the last common entrance in Trinidad and Tobago, 2000. The year 2000 was when I did common entrance, 21 years ago. And I will never forget the months leading up and the months after common entrance. Just how many nightmares I had mentally. I think that was probably the genesis of my anxiety. And like things get me so anxious now. But when you look back now, if you could trace the anxiety and mental health problems that children experience, it could probably be traced back to SE examination.
Yeah. When I was filling out my form for passport and to go in to get the passport, I was nervous. And it's like, what the hell I get nervous for a freaking passport? I mean, I did well for CXC. I got my 7 subjects. I got my 1 in English. I got a 2 in history. The first time I didn't have to repeat nothing. Right? And I just got nervous. Look, the last exam for SCA, I was nervous for these children. None of my children doing SCA, but I was nervous. And it's like, what the hell I getting nervous for? This foolishness, why we had to go through this for children, with children, why they have to have children like this?
And then on the other side, we have our Prime Minister telling us,
give me a break. Man, it's to give us a break.
I had to go and search the context under which he said that, because I would be lying to tell you that I watch these conferences live. I get my tidbits after I get it from people. I read, I listen to what I have to listen to, but to sit down and put myself through that torture at 2 p.m. every Saturday, I would be lying to tell you that I do it. And I do want to segue away from education. We did speak about that in depth this morning. I think it's a very relevant topic though. And Lima, like I said, functioning as both a mother and now a part-time teacher, she would know everything that is impacting us as a nation. She would know what would impact us as the teacher. She knows what is impacting us as the children because she's experiencing it through her children's eyes. And also in terms of the education system itself, what is broken, what needs to change, the fact that we have and ended another school year, and we're still repeating some of the same issues from last year, means that we obviously have not made any progress. I mean, we're about to reopen the country slowly but surely. I'm hoping that this next academic year is going to be different, but hopes and wishes and
And,
prayers
and look
don't
at it,
change the
right?
situation. We need literal solutions.
They
What's that?
haven't stated yet if physical school in September. So when you're going to let parents know, because plenty parents don't have money to buy uniforms yet, much less books, right? I didn't buy any uniforms for my son because from since last year, I said, I don't know when school going to physically open. It doesn't make sense me buy uniforms. And then by the time you're ready to go to school, the shirt can't fit you, the pants too tight. Where we getting sneakers? All them sneakers that they have in the stores now that ready to dry rot?
You're gonna have 75% off sale.
Yeah, and then two run in the rain and the sole come off.
In the rain, you walk into school one day and you notice you leave your shoe behind.
Your toes getting cold. What's going on with these people? They haven't said anything yet. I mean, I as a parent wouldn't be comfortable sending my child to school in September with 320 something cases every day, all now. But
we will see when that time comes. Just like the school term ended and they decided to tell those who did not complete the amount of classes that they would be repeating the same way. Daisy just said, good morning. I love the show. Thank you very much for that, Daisy. I hope you hit share and everybody. Sorry, my Belgian, my coffee, and everybody who just joined us this morning. Please hit share. We're going to move on to the discussion about our Prime Minister, who had the goal to stand up and tell the nation, and I take that as a nation because the question the reporter was asking is on behalf of the nation. He had the goal to tell them, just give me a break. And for those who missed the question that the reporter asked him, our reporters of late are trying to function as real journalists. They're trying to function as what we would see in the Times, on NBC, on to a small degree Fox. I don't know. I have a problem with Fox News, but all of them are propaganda. But they're trying to function like real journalists in terms of the fact that they are holding on to an issue and they're not letting go. And that was what prompted the response from our Prime Minister on Saturday when a journalist asked him about the luxury vehicles brought in by Terence Dial Singh and Stuart Young and the very lofty tax exemptions that they got or they benefit from as ministers. One was over $500,000 on a land. What is it here? A Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser, $500,000. The other one was 200,000, I believe. And of course, these purchases were condemned in a time where citizens are literally living on charity. Some people are literally living on handouts and waiting for when generous citizens have enough in their own pockets to give a little extra. There are people who I know who would have contributed. We have a hamper drive going on. There's some people who I know I could have called them and say, hey, drop a little $100 for some of those same people right now are in the situation of they don't have the money to purchase things. So we're in a situation where those who had don't have, and those who didn't have even less now. And we have ministers purchasing luxury vehicles, benefiting from those very generous tax exemptions that they get as ministers. And one of them, Mr. Young, I believe, said he works very hard.
Apparently we don't. For them to get these tax breaks, we don't work hard. And then you have the opposition who condemning it, but they themselves doing the same thing, because Saddam and Ravi Ratiram also bought Land Cruiser Prados, as well as Munilal.
So is
But
it
Munilal's own was from 2018. I'm not too sure.
I
So,
think
I mean, I was outside of the pandemic, fine. But Saddam and Ravi Ratiram, come on, they can't want to throw talk and all they doing the same bullshit.
But that's the same thing, and you're gonna have the road rats on them. You know who I'm talking about? The road rats on them talking about.
Well, the UNC doing it too.
When UNC doing it too. I believe last week was when the propaganda piece came out about Philip. I guess to try and shift the blame on him. Yeah, to lump him with them. The UNC doing it and the PNM doing it and like Philip doing it. And whether you believe Philip has or have the car, whether you're upset with UNC, whether you're upset with PNM, at what point we gonna sit down and realize that both sides of the fence doing the exact same thing, flinging the same feces on each other, and we left here fighting over who thief the least?
Yeah.
Literally both sides doing the same thing. So what argument do we even have?
The thing is, I didn't mind if you take your vehicle and that same tax exemption, you took it, or you were allowed to buy hampers and you helped in your constituency. I didn't mind if your constituency had proper representation. It don't flood, the roads in good condition, the people say they don't have water, you're calling WASA and you're writing WASA and you have the evidence to show that you just fight for your constituency and that you just fight for improvement and nobody hungry in your constituency and all these things. I would have been okay with that. But not when your constituency in a hot mess, two people spit in the same spot and it flood. You're seeing garbage floating down. You're not coming with ideas about how to help with the flooding or the littering or all these other things. You're not coming with solutions like that. You're not doing anything. And then you want to ball, you just work hard? How?
Stuart Young is the MP for Port of Spain, North St. John's West, where I live. Nicole Young is also the councillor for Belmont East, which is the electoral district in which I live. Both Youngs have been missing in action since they were both elected to office. I heard that the younger Young, aka Nicole Young, has actually moved out of Belmont, so she no longer has to experience the issues that we experience in Belmont. But every day when I drive in and out of my street, my shocks, tires, suspension, alignment all get thrown out of whack. Every day, in and out of my street. And for the minister who works so hard, I hear they're actually resuming paving of the highways today. I don't understand why they continue to pave the same areas over and over and over and over and over. I don't know if it's for ease of access. I don't know if they're just looking to do as little work as possible. But my street, which has had a hole that has grown into a crater, which has grown into a swimming pool, which has grown into the Grand Canyon, literally damages vehicles every time you pass. And that is just one hole in a community, in a constituency, in an entire nation, Twin Island nation, that has so many bad roads that I don't understand what we're paying road tax for. I'm not even going to talk about the pitch take because we all know we're not getting the money from that. But even if we're not getting the money, the fact that we have a pitch take here, the fact that we have so-called bright minds in office who don't know that our roads are in such a deplorable condition. But then when you have luxury vehicles that going down the Grand Canyon and all it feeling like
you don't feel it.
And you don't feel it. Who the hell is we? But that's the situation that we in. While we have to deal with these messed up roads, we have
and then ministers. It's not only Port of Spain, not, because around the Savannah could do with a pave. Ryson Road could do with a pave. Western Main Road could do with a little thing. Down Gasparillo on the bend. have some deep. It's like if they dig out chunks of the pitch on the highway that need fixing. Right? It have major roads all over. The Lady Young in a mess. It have landslides. And they still wouldn't clear it. Half of the pavement eats away because mud fall down on it from the landslide, and grass now growing all over it and bush, and they're not seeing it to clear up that. Adrian Leon's is on that side to fix it, and he's still not doing it, and that there since before elections. What are they waiting on to fix these things?
Keith Rowley said he has no authority to interfere in anybody's purchase of any vehicle.
But you are the Prime Minister, supposed to lead by example and tell your cabinet, listen to me, I don't want nobody buying no expensive vehicles when all your constituencies in a mess and people out there suffering. I don't want to hear nothing about all you get nothing until the people sort it out. You're not even doing that. So it's either he don't have control of his cabinet and he's not the real Prime Minister and he is just like Fitzgerald Hines, a placemat, a face for a place, or he doesn't care. And I more believe he doesn't care. Look at all the flooding that has happened on St. Francois Valley Road coming out of St. Francois College. You telling me they can't go inside and figure out why it is all that water all of a sudden just be coming through the school and out the yard? That only happened in a few years now. That has never been so before. And all Nicole Youngless want to do is blame the city engineer from Port of Spain Corporation, who, by the way, has taken a stance because all they have done is bully him, slander the man's name, and verbally attack him. That's all they just do in council against the engineering department. If you constantly do that to people, why would they want to work with you? Why would anybody want to work with you when you're using your political arm to bully people and slander people's good name? I wouldn't want to work with you.
The fact that local government continues to complain about the same issues over and over and over in every council meeting should attest to the fact that this local government is a failed system.
They need to get council out of the regional corporations. The political arm is destroying local government.
The political arm is destroying everything in this country. We started off this discussion this morning talking about education. We've politicized even that. And the children are unfortunately going to pay for it. And not just the children, the nation is going to pay for it, because in the next 20 years, when these children have to take reins of this nation, who are we really leaving the country?
But how are we paying back these loans that we keep taking, Felicia? They not say, for me to go and take a loan with the bank, I have to show my salary, how I could pay it back, and it must have debt service ratio. It mustn't cost a certain percentage of your salary to pay back, blah, blah, blah. So how much debt service ratio this country have that we taking billions and billions and billions of dollars, and all of our assets are no longer ours? What we will have just now, not obviously the people of Trinidad and Tobago as the only asset.
They will have to sell us, basically reverse or new colonialism, new slavery. That is exactly what it's going to have to be. We would be working as laborers and consumers for these businesses that are going to come and buy up all these businesses that are crashing and failing. Now I see Movietown Tobago is up for sale. I don't believe RFP has come out yet, but he has unofficially or officially, not unofficially, he has officially said if anybody in Tobago wants to make him an offer for Movietown, he's willing. And that's Derek Chin, who owned three different Movietowns. Movietown should
so he's liquidating
Movietown Tobago. He's also explained the fact that after this, when they do get to reopen, he would have to assess his financial situation. And I mean, guys, this is somebody who is, I guess you can consider him the 1% of the 1%. Cream of the crop. When you have people like that talking about closing their businesses, last week we had the owner show is closing down. Natalie Narayan asked, why didn't the Prime Minister cut their pay and help citizens in desperation? That will never happen. Again, these things are so glaring. The glaring solutions, the obvious ones that we are the citizens are asking. Why is it not being implemented? The US, Diana Mohammed mentioned the US that was
Yeah.
used to purchase these vehicles. Where did they get that US in this time?
Yeah,
I
but
know
where
people
did these
who can't
companies,
get
car
US to bring
companies?
in people can't get in the US to bring in medical supplies. These are people who own
Yeah,
um medical
companies.
businesses or whatever. I forgot what to call it. But they can't even afford to purchase the equipment to bring in things to save lives in this country. But we have US to buy cars,
Yeah. I
million dollar
passed in
cars.
front of that HSM place and I saw a Prado, a Land Cruiser Prado right there with the plastic all over the seats. And then I say, hey, look, Terrence vehicle there, man. Nice. It looking nice. Right? And then the people who packing up to leave, to sell their house, their car, everything. After they sell their house and everything and get all that TT, they have no US to get because you can't get US to the tune of how much ever you sell your house and car for.
And that's
So how you migrating still?
that is the thing. Migrating is now there's no an additional cost to migrate because you want to leave this country and you literally cannot or don't have the amount of US to purchase
Yeah.
to leave. So it's like you're stuck here and then you're stuck here. It's two different kinds of stuck. You're stuck in the hole in the rut of Trinidad and Tobago, and then you literally cannot afford to leave. So where are they getting this money from and why?
So you know what people will start to do? Camp out in the airport, and when you see people coming, hi, you have US to sell? You have US? I'll buy it. I'll buy at any price. I'm buying it. We will have black market US sales just now.
But that's what we have right now, Lemma.
Or
US
people will travel
$11.
to other Caribbean islands probably and see if they get from there. I don't know. I don't know what are the options. But again, you see in the stagnation of people. You want to leave and get out and you still can't go. We must hold on to you and pinch you. Have to. While the 1% and them getting all the US, because they're bringing in all the imported stuff, all the brand new vehicles, the HSM getting money to bring in Prado, and who bringing in Porsche, and all the fanciness. While your citizens don't even have money to buy food and have to be at the mercy of people giving handouts.
We are literally a reverse first world nation. I can't even call us third world anymore. I can't call us fourth world. We are literally the opposite of everything a first world nation is going to do. When Jacinta Ardern said my government is going to, for the next 3 months, take a 20% pay cut, you know what our government thought? I'm going to one up them. Next year, I'm going to buy a luxury car and get a 700,000 tax break. Take that, New Zealand.
And then watch it, right? You're pushing your citizens in a corner and you're whipping them, right? And then you had the police now coming on top of what they're doing. Let me see what you go do. Well, you can't do nothing.
You can imagine how Keith Rowley and Stuart Young and Terence D'Alsing and Dolly, what's her name? Dolly, whatever. Dolly and all of them and Marlene. And when last I hear about Marlene, you imagine how they used to sit down.
Wait until I hear the criminal charges or whatever it is they have against her come up soon because her case is supposed to be calling just now with all that community center that never built.
You can imagine how they sit down in rooms and just laugh at us.
Yeah.
Like, them so stupid. We just buy 2 luxury cars. And the next side just buy, and they're not sitting down amongst themselves. Because it's
all of them together.
Only on the lower levels here, we argue about hair color and hair texture and skin color and who you're praying to and only on this level we argue about those things. While you fight up in your board house and I fight up in my galvanized house, they living in their luxury guarded community. Dogs.
They probably have a WhatsApp chat. They probably have a WhatsApp chat. Keith, I like that one. That was a good one. Just give me a break.
And Calm is just the little imp, just poking thing. You think they'll riot? You think they're ready to riot? And all them laughing emoji, ha 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 ha. But imagine it just like that. Imagine it as a WhatsApp group with all of them in that group, all of them bread buttered, security guards paid, children
that will respond. Police that will respond in less than 5 minutes.
Abroad, or going to international school, or being online schooled, all of those things, while we here fighting up.
Yeah.
Over the scrap, not even the scraps, the remnants of what they left behind.
Yeah.
For us.
And then they have to
listen to people like Rhoda Barra talk. You have to know that these are paid hacks, because had this, if it's one thing I am very glad to say, I am so glad that I made 3 years in UWI and managed to avoid being lectured by that woman, because if that was what I would have had to been subjected to, and I'm sorry for every child and any child who has to be lectured by that woman, because I cannot believe that somebody who is supposed to be educated is so dotish. And I say that without fear of contradiction. Can't believe that
all the debunking she wants to do on Philip video, she's still missing the flicking point, you know. The fact that Trinidad and Tobago have assets sitting down, rotting there, wasting money is a problem for Trinidad and Tobago, and that is the problem. Whether who highlighted it could be Philip, it could be me, it could be Gerard Aboud, any flicking body highlighted. The point is, we have assets parked up down there, wasting away, when we could have had that as the taxi ferry up and down north-south, or we could have been included in the bubble that me and them want to have, and have inter-island ferries going up and down the Caribbean. So if I wanted to go Barbados, I could jump on a ferry and go and come back down on the next one back to Trinidad. We could have been doing things like that, but no. Let it rot and waste down Coast Guard, and let Coast Guard workers get all defensive, you know, or they're talking nonsense. It's not Coast Guard boats. It don't matter if it's Coast Guard boats or not. It's Trinidad and Tobago own boats that wasting away. Why we doing that? We wasting our own assets that could have come in handy for our people, us.
We just got some more OPVs, right? We just got some more Coast Guard vessels, and I don't know for what. I don't know if these are going to be added to the batch that never has gas to sail and protect our borders. Every administration comes in, they have a different solution that just turns out to be a money-making venture for whichever minister or minister's friend was able to secure the tender to buy it at 10, 20 times the cost, bring it in, and then park it up to grow moss.
If I see a single Venezuelan boat heading to Trinidad and Tobago, the Coast Guard, they need to get rid of all of them then. They need to cut them salary or some kind of thing, because they get 2 brand new vessels and they still can't stop them Venezuelans and waiting patiently to see that. If I see any more high-powered brand new rifles in this country hidden in the bush, and the police can't set up a sting operation to find out who hold it, who bring it, who puts it there, but they get these guns, we're going to have problems. We're going to have serious problems. I wouldn't stand down. Gary go real hate me after that, because that is nonsense. How you tell me you find in the bush, it just, teleport there, all these weapons that looking brand new, wrap up and cling wrap and all kind of thing, and you ain't know who put it there. You ain't see a vehicle, you ain't question nobody, but it there.
Drugs and guns is just walk in this country. They just appear. We could send drugs to Norfolk, Virginia, and it never have a sender, never have a receiver.
Yeah. But what them was really preparing for, you see the zombie apocalypse or some kind of thing? If that is the case, then I am sorely underprepared for that apocalypse.
Lima McLeod, it's 8:12 and I have to go. I know we've been going on a little bit longer these days and I would love to stay a little bit longer, but this is one of the mornings that I do have to press. I think we covered everything that we did want to cover. We touched a lot on education, and it's the official start of the August vacation, I assume. Um, we have children who are going to be, and as the ministry told parents or teachers recently, they are going to be kept back. I don't know how that is going to impact the psyche of children. I don't know why they took so long to do this. I don't know why there is no interim measure or no attempts to try and rectify the situation. Like I mentioned, the vacation schools and stuff like that. I don't know why they can't put that in place. But we are dealing with people who are known to not have any forethought, and this is the situation that we guys find ourselves. Yeah, this is the situation that we find ourselves in today. We also spoke about the give me a break, man.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't mean, I guess he probably meant tax break. Give me a tax break, because I saw Hadassah said he also purchased a vehicle. I missed that little fact. I have to go read up on that. Yes, mom just got it just now there.
Yeah.
um,
Well, and he want to compare us to Haiti?
and we also spoke about more businesses that are closing down. I mean, Movie Town is, everybody who's anybody know about Movie Town. Movie Town is what this generation and the generation after us grew up in. Them don't know about Globe and all of these things. But the reality is this situation, this lockdown, this COVID-19, everything has really, I would say, undermined businesses. A lot of small business owners, big business owners, large business owners, they are finding it very hard to survive during these times, and this is the reality. And we're going to see more of it. We're going to see more businesses closing down. We're going to see more of this happening because we did not have the foresight as a nation to put things in place when we had the opportunity to, and now we are literally seeing around us things collapsing.
Yep. But we seeing all who have the US.
But we seeing all who have the US. I'm reading a comment on the YouTube because we're also broadcasting live on YouTube this morning. Judy Dastan said Gary and his men refuse to protect the citizens and nations, but just going after marijuana farmers and small man on the street. They don't give two fucks about FOX, about TNT. Benny's can do whatever they want in TNT. I didn't get to touch on Gary Griffith this morning, and I did want to touch on him. And I know Gary watches this program because Gary has eyes for everything that takes place on social media. And I want to tell Gary, I am a supporter of you as a commissioner of police. I listened to his interview with Philip the other day, and I see he is trying to play this apolitical game where I am nothing. I want to be outside of politics. I have nothing to do with PNM. I have nothing to do with UNC. I just want to, and my job is just to enforce the law. And I had two questions to him. One, at what point is it going to, at what point is he going to realize that the people who are making the laws are literally the people who are destroying the country?
Also breaking the same laws.
And that was the second thing. And at what point is he going to arrest and charge those who are breaking the same laws?
Yeah. Yeah. Because the Prime Minister does use insulting language in the nation. Right? That's a charge. Police will charge people insulting language. Insulting language when you're calling anybody stupid, you're jackassing the thing. Annoying language, I think, is when they're calling you a buller, you're gay or any kind of strippiness like that, when you're telling police that, that's annoying language. And then there's obscene language charge. So that's 3 different charges right there. Right? I could be wrong, it could be 2. Right? But then I now wearing a mask by myself on the beach, not even on the beach, but close proximity to the beach. I got a ticket for that. But the Prime Minister, who on a diplomatic stage, which is not his private house, he with a whole set of other strangers, and he's not wearing a mask. Come now, man.
Colm Imbert.
He's
Colm
not.
Imbert was photographed walking out of Parliament last week, Thursday, with no mask. I think last week, or was it last week, Friday? Either way, I mean, at one point, slavery was legal. At one point, it was legal to own and purchase people.
Yeah.
At one point, Black people weren't allowed to vote. All of these things were laws. They were legal.
Yeah.
And Gary Griffith, as the police commissioner, he needs to figure out, as apolitical as he wants to remain, he needs to figure out where that line is and how dangerously close
Alexander wasn't disciplined for not wearing masks, but he's the same type of bully who will want to enforce it on people. With Faris, with Voice and all of them. None of them related, they don't live together. But yet still, all you can get charged. But if I ride in my car with my husband and my turn, I have to wear a mask? Really? And then he will say he's apolitical. You could never be apolitical, and that is allowed to happen. And we showed how many countries that are way bigger than Trinidad and way better too, that have charged their prime ministers. So why we can't do that here? He's not a lord.
He also mentioned that, he's not afraid to go after the big fish and thing. And I don't know if he was referring to Marlene. We're not talking about size here.
No, she's literally big. She's a bigger fish than she.
That's why I said we're not talking about size. We're talking about the real big fish in this country, not the scapegoat. I don't know. Claire, I have to believe that they gave Marlene some hush money and say, listen, the people calling for a head out of all of we think you could take it. You look like you could use some vacation time. Them people in Port Spain saw they frustrating you. Take a little downtime. Hold a little bag of money. Relax yourself. We'll bail you out.
But the thing about it is, Felicia, what's going on with Stuart X stepdaughter? We're hearing rumors that she jet setting in the United States. But he's apolitical, and she's supposed to be jail, and she's supposed to be in Golden Grove waiting for her case to pull up, like everybody else, or the other two that she get held with.
Now that situation has happened in terms of her and her case and the ambiguity surrounding it, you have to also wonder if she was another scapegoat, here, look a little something, look, we'll arrest a child of a minister or stepchild and take that on hush and forget everything else that's still happening, that's still going unchecked, that's still going uninvestigated. Forget all of that.
But look at it.
Take your
you're arresting and you're burning farmers' products, right? For marijuana, and you're charging them with cultivation and blah blah blah, right? But the same Abu that get charged for having marijuana in his private residence, or they didn't charge the man for cultivation. I asked the police officer about that. I say, how it is they charge he for having it and he was growing it, but they charged some other fella in I think it was someone in Blanchard just for cultivation. I was like, how that does work? He said, oh God, you're asking questions. You don't know the answers to that already. He said they didn't charge him with cultivation. They were supposed to charge him with cultivation because he was growing it in his house. He had the black bulbs and everything. But again, you know what? Everybody should go and try and change their name or identify now as Asabga, Abood, Hadid, or one of them. Philip went down in front of the Red House. No police jumped him. Good morning, sir. How could I help you? Blah, 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 blah. Marsha went down. Problems.
Deborah Ramsroop Arthur just said, I still real love my country. And she said it in caps and in bold. And I want to underscore and highlight what she just said. Despite all of the fools and the jackasses in control, I still love Trinidad and Tobago. 2 Fridays ago, I drove to Manzanilla Beach alone and just looking out into the horizon, walking for that 1 minute on the sand. Everything about Trinidad and Tobago is so beautiful, and it is literally the people that we have put in charge of being the stewards of this country are the ones who messing it up. So yes, I love Trinidad and Tobago too, and it's why I do this program. Somebody just said all this talk and they're still gonna go back and vote PNM. I disagree. All this talk and somebody is going to be enlightened. Somebody's going to realize, but they're making sense. And I
Yeah.
believe that the time is ripe. I will keep saying that the time is ripe. Sometimes you wonder why bad things happen to you. And then you realize later on when you learn the lesson from the bad thing that happened to you, that
Yeah.
you needed that to happen to you in order to be able to excel,
Open your eyes.
learn, or open your eyes. This that we're going through as a nation, I think this is the bad time that we had to go through. So a woman called me the other day and she started off very aggressive. And by the end of the convo, she was literally telling me, I watch your program every morning. She's probably watching me this morning right now. She said, I watch your program every morning. Keep being yourself. I say, girl, some mornings I don't even want to put on any makeup. She's like, girl, you come on the show as you want to. I say, yeah, I do that sometimes.
I
But
don't put on any
she
makeup.
basically said,
Oh, you're making me look bad.
you don't have to wear makeup. You see it under my eyes right now. I didn't sleep properly, and that's the result. Anyway, um, she basically said, she said, I didn't vote for Philip in the last election. I didn't like him in the last election. He was just. She's like, you don't find him rough, and then she's like, I love him, I love him. And this same woman who just a few months ago, 8, 9 months ago, couldn't stand him. Now she's one of his strongest supporters. Now she's a very strong supporter of the movement. And I believe that had to happen. She had to see the country come to this point for her to get her wake up call.
And still going to get worse. We're not coming
I,
out of it now.
I was gonna say that I don't know how much further we could descend into this abyss, because I personally I feeling like there's a noose around my neck. I
Yeah.
don't know how y'all surviving. Every day waking up in this country, every day is a new madness
Struggle.
that you have to face. Every
Yeah.
morning, Lady Spice mentioned
Schools.
something on the live that I wanted to touch on, that I didn't even want to touch on when I saw it. I wanted to touch on it, didn't want to touch on it. A woman with 8 children, none of them have birth certificates, none of them registered, none of them going to school. And this is just one of several more cases that we know.
And
Like,
again, if the
throughout.
hospitals were linked properly to legal affairs, that would have never happened. And so what, they're not going to school then?
No, they're not. And they don't have birth certificates, and their mother obviously in a situation of poverty. And while all of this
Obviously,
is
she went in
happening,
the hospital to make them children.
obviously while this is happening, we have our the chief people, the people in charge of running this country, the people who are supposed to be leading us towards progress. They purchasing their luxury vehicles, they feathering their own nests, they getting kickbacks to them and their friends.
And you know what idiots, educated idiots gonna say? Well, why is she making more children then? Where the children
Yeah, for sure. They're not going to talk about the fact that we
this
live in
was
a
about to
society
happen.
that don't educate people on the proper use of contraception. They don't educate people in terms of. You never notice that uneducated and poor people have the most amount of children, and you always wonder, oh God, why they have so much children? It has nothing to do with just feeling to raise the Brady Bunch. Education is directly linked to poverty. It's directly linked to social issues like having so many children that you don't know how to mind them. And believe it or not, it would be easy for you to sit down here in the comfort and behind your laptop while you sip your coffee and say, didn't you know to stop after one? It would be nice and easy for you to say that. But that's not the reality for people who live in a whole different world than ours. You don't know what is her situation, you don't know what's her circumstance. But I
But
do
what
know
if
that we
she
have a
did
Ministry of
use
Social Development and Education that has clearly failed her and her children. Was that Limbs?
But what if she did use contraceptive and it just didn't work for her? Because we also have that problem. I know somebody who got pregnant on the little T contraceptive. I know somebody who got pregnant after she tied her tubes.
My only questions now would be 8 times. I ain't judging her, but 8 times didn't work.
No, but I mean, if that is your problem, what's stopping you then? The only thing for her is then if she ties her tubes, and then there's want to play politics in the hospital when you go to that. Oh, you're too young. Why you want to do that? You sure you don't want to have a next child? You're still too young, and that's all they just tell you. You're too young. You're too young to tie your tubes. Why is it too young? It's my right. It's my body. If I want to tie my tubes, tie my damn tubes. We have that politics in healthcare in Trinidad as well. So people need to get off their high horse and understand that we have problems on top of problems on top of broken systems.
Very, very, very well said. I have to go. I do have to make my exit. This was another wonderful program this morning. For all of you who would have joined us on the live, thank you very much for joining us on Cutting Edge. If you'd like to learn more about the Citizens Union, follow us on find us on citizensuniontt.org. Our offices are not open yet to the public. I almost said we open. We're not open yet to the public, but if you would like to reach out to one of us, you can call 471-2888. You can call me personally on my cell phone number, which I'm giving out. It's 769-4590. Please do not send me any good morning memes, any forward messages. I do not open those things. You know, when you add somebody on WhatsApp and then the only messages you get from them every morning is those little good morning.
Sister, Jesus is in your corner this morning. Have a lovely day.
Donna Rambisal, Rudy Nana, and Orlando Loch. Oh my God, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I will not do it justice. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. And please join us again on Wednesday. And join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Cutting Edge. Limbs, I would leave you to close and end the live discussion this morning.
I'm not giving out my number, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm just letting that.
What?
I'm not giving out my number.
Or your cell phone number. Well, my number is practically a public number anyway, so I'll give it out to anybody. So,
I do it.
769-4590 is my number. Charmaine just put it up on the live desk. So, yeah, Limbs, you close off.
So, we had a great discussion this morning and it touched on key issues. I hope the Ministry of Education will get their act together before September, but that is a big hope. But until then, let's try to maintain some sort of, sanity. Call your friends, try, if you notice somebody zoning out, ask, nothing wrong with asking, hey, you all right? Everything okay? Being each other's keeper. Remember, we have a lot of people going through mental pressure, down to children, teenagers. So try to remember you don't know what people are going through, so don't get on like, wajang and jackass. Don't let that be the first reaction, right? Remember, people going through their stress. It's a stressful time, and we have to try to be understanding and tolerant at the same time, right? So remember to keep safe, social distance, wash your hands, and join us on Wednesday. Bye.